My first guest today is a 21-year-old singer-songwriter from the small town that I currently live in here in Alabama. It's very rare that we've had someone local to me on the show. I know her family and I've seen her out performing places around town, but I didn't realize how fast and natural her journey through music has been until I got to know her and her music. I'm super excited to welcome her as our first inspirational entertainer for season 4 of the Breakthrough Show.
Life gives us moments when we have the opportunity to make a choice, and what we choose has the potential to change our lives forever. Join us now for another inspired episode of The Breakthrough. And now, please welcome the creator and host of the show, Jessica Dugas.
Please welcome Abby Miracle to the show. Welcome.
Hi.
I'm so excited that you're here. You have like the perfect name for the entertainment industry, Abby Miracle. It's like, that is your given name, right?
Oh yeah, that's my last name by birth. It's my dad's name, come from my dad's side of the family. So
It's like it was predestined for there to be some kind of entertainer in the family because the name's perfect for that, I think.
right, and my first initial is A, so I get to be A Miracle. Also.
Oh my gosh. That's wild. That's awesome. You know, there's so many people who are entertainers that have to go and choose their name. You were just given the right one, right?
It's just like almost like I couldn't say no. It's like you gotta go into it now.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been been involved in music and interested in music since you were how old?
I always liked music when I'd listen to it, like with my dad or my mom on the radio in the car going places. But when I was 6 years old, I was in a children's class at church, and they had this thing at First Baptist in Opelika that they used to do at Christmas called the Living Christmas Tree.
Mm-hmm.
And what it was is they have this like giant Christmas tree in the sanctuary. They don't do it anymore because they remodeled and it doesn't fit anymore in the sanctuary because the ceiling's lower or something. But it was this giant Christmas tree, and they'd have people stand on every layer of it, and then they'd sing the songs from the tree. So it was kind of like I don't know if they were supposed to be ornaments or lights or whatever, but they had a little girl or a little boy, I guess just a kid. I think it's always been a little girl, but they had a young child sing a song called Happy Birthday Jesus every year.
Yes.
And so they came to my class. I can't really remember if it was a music class. Each kid individually and had them sing, and they decided that they liked me the best, which is crazy to think about, but they chose me to do it, and my parents said that they would be okay with me doing it. So I sang this song with these people in this choir on the Living Christmas Tree, and it was several performances throughout December. It was like several services. So, and First Baptist is a fairly big church. I think they're bigger than they were back then, but yeah. I was 6 years old, so I mean that was quite some time ago. But I think it was at least 1,000 people every night. And
Wow.
I still don't know how at 6 years old I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this. It's not a big deal. Because I was really quiet as a child, honestly. Like, I mean, I still had the same personality that I have, but I wasn't like, with every new person I met, I was like, I'm just going to be completely myself, like, immediately. I kind of had to, like, get used to a person. So, I don't know, but somehow I sang that song several times in front of a few people, and then back a few years later in second grade, they asked me to do it again for the Christmas Eve service, and it just kind of stuck, I guess, because I continued doing choir stuff, and I eventually recorded some cover albums later, and then started getting into songwriting. So
I love that. Well, and what blows my mind is that you didn't pick up an actual guitar until 2014. And
right.
Then made an album in 2016. Like that's a fast. Somebody push the fast forward button there.
Well, I had guitars on and off pretty much through my childhood. I think the first one I got is one of those like first act like things from like Target or something. It's like
The
20
one that
bucks
never
and
stays tuned. Like,
right, and I didn't know how to tune it either, but something happened and it broke, and
mm,
so I didn't have a guitar for a while, and then I did have one and I was bored with it. And then I decided I wanted to play ukulele in 2014, and I talked to my mom about it, and she was like, yeah, if you'll actually play it, then we should get it, because it's not an expensive instrument and it seems
mm.
to be easy to learn. So I got it, and I started teaching myself, and then I started taking lessons. So that kind of helped me fast forward on that one. And then the guy that ended up being my guitar teacher, Paul Gross, he talked to me at a music camp, and he was like, I think it's time for you to step up to 6 strings. I was like, well, I do have a guitar already. He's like, yeah, you need to just start taking some guitar lessons with me. And so I did. And I think the knowledge of already knowing the basic of playing a string instrument, like this, how to strum and how to like form some basic chords that were easy to carry over to guitar, because some of them are pretty similar. I think that kind of helped me
Yeah.
go ahead and be ready to make an album after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much easier. I mean, I know going through different instruments myself, once I learned piano, it was so much easier to pick up guitar and pick up clarinet and pick up these other things that I wanted to
Right.
try to play, because while the notes change depending on what interest what are the music notes on the page change depending on what instrument you're playing, it's still that knowledge is the same. And so I think it
Right.
helps quite a bit.
Yeah, everybody I know that plays piano, my brother plays piano,
Mm,
but everybody I know that plays it says they can visualize the notes on every other instrument, like the
right.
guitar or the ukulele. They're like, I know where all the notes are, I just don't know how to make chords.
And
It's
it's
like,
rougher on your fingers. It's a lot
right.
rougher on your fingers. And I
Oh, yeah.
remember when I got my first callus and I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Like,
Yeah, it's rough when the calluses are forming, because your fingers sting all the
yeah.
time and you're just like, "Ugh." But once you get them pretty strong, then it doesn't usually hurt too bad, unless you play for 4 hours, which I'm guilty of
Yeah.
doing for 2 days. I'm like, why do my hands hurt?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So who are some of your musical influences? Who, because I'll tell you, when I listened to you, the first vibe that I got was Lisa Loeb from, and this is going back to my 90s period of time.
Right.
But Lisa Loeb was one of my favorite. The way that she could just tell a story,
Hmm.
and you just believe every word she says. It doesn't matter what she's singing about, you just believe it. And that's the vibe I got from you. But who are some of your influences in music?
Well, definitely Dave Potts used to be my songwriting instructor. We haven't done lessons in a while, but I still take advice from him when I can. He's lived here since 98 or 97, I think. And he's been doing shows here since he moved here. So I grew up going to his shows.
Mm-hmm.
So he was always a pretty big influence on songwriting and performing for me as a kid, because I just thought it was so cool that he wrote all these stories into songs and then got to perform them for his group of friends and some people he didn't even know. But also, I do like artists like 21 Pilots, which is not really similar to what I do, but I find the way they came up from nothing pretty inspiring, and I like their music, of course, as well. And I really like a lot of singer-songwriters, so um, I just kind of go into that genre and find songs that I like, and then I'll dig deep into an artist. So I have new favorite artists every week or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. It's always sort of fun to me to go back and discover someone that I didn't know from years ago,
Hmm.
that have a similar style to me, or just, that I love the singer-songwriter thing where, like I said, it's just, they bring you in to what they're
Hmm.
singing, and it's just so believable and it's so real. And a lot of times that right song comes along that makes us feel like we're not alone, and
Right.
that we have someone else in the world that's going through what we did at somewhere in time, and I think
Hmm.
that's magical. It's magical.
Absolutely. I really love story songs that like paint a picture and tell like a specific story, and you can close your eyes and really see it like you're there. That's
Mhm.
one of my favorite things about songwriting, is that you can either make something vague that you can just enjoy, or you can make something that's very specific that you can visualize in your head.
Right, right. Absolutely. Well, I can't wait for you to perform for us today. So you're going to do a song for us called Peace of Mind. Tell us a little bit about that song and how and what that means to you.
Well, Peace of Mind is really interesting. I actually had no intention of writing anything like it when I wrote it. I was going into a songwriting lesson with Dave, and it was the 5th of July in 2016. So I don't remember if it was raining the day before, but it was just a very peaceful, non-stormy rain.
Mm.
And I had absolutely no ideas for anything to write, but I was there to write songs. So um, Dave said, well, why don't we sit out here on the porch and watch the rain, and you just describe it to me. Just picture of what around you. And that's how this song kind of came to be. I wrote the entire thing in that hour lesson, and then I went home and recorded it and released it all within less than 24 hours. So I kind of call it my Guinness record song, because I had no intention of making it, but it just came to be in 24 hours.
Mm.
But
I think that's how you know that it was supposed to be, as much as we feel like maybe this is unnatural, I didn't plan on this, that when
mhm.
something is just completely flows out of us in that way, we know, okay, well there was a bigger reason for this one.
Right, right. Um, I would say it is a very peaceful song. It's really just when you listen to the recording, it has rain in the background, but it's really just a kind of sit down and relax at the end of the day song, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love it. And I'm excited for you to share that with us today. So here to perform her song, Peace of Mind for us, everybody, here's Abby Miracle.
I am watching as the raindrops fall. They are rolling, cooling down the sidewalk. Sometimes rain can be a bad thing, but today is not like other times. Usually a storm will come and leave me locked up inside. But today, this rain is giving me peace of mind. Thunder will not roll, lightning will not crash. Storms like that go on forever, but summer rain won't last. I'm peaceful as the rain slows down. Gently falling, forming puddles on the ground. Normally I wouldn't be outside in this, but today is not like other times. Usually when storms come, I like to stay inside. But today, this rain is giving me peace of mind. Thunder will not roll, lightning will not crash. Storms like that go on forever, but summer rain won't last. falling on the ground. I wonder when it will come back around. Wind no longer blows, clouds have passed. Storms usually go on forever, but this summer rain didn't last.
Awesome. Yay. I just love that. It's like I can take a deep breath, and it reminds me of like sort of, some people, the rain and the storms can bring a lot of anxiety. And so you can use that as a metaphor, for me, as a metaphor for like the things that come into our lives, but we can choose to find the peace there and take a deep breath. And I just love it. I love that song so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. So we are going to will you come back and do another song for us at the end?
Sure.
We're back with our inspirational entertainer today, who has an amazing song for us on the heels of today's amazing guest, Sally Lucian, and her story. From her 2018 album, My Story, My Song, here's Abby Miracle again with Made for Something.
I just want answers to a selfish prayer. Sometimes it's hard to believe that you're there. And I still try to remind myself what I already know. Maybe the more that I sing, it'll make my faith grow. You made me for something. Nothing is made for nothing. Every scar, every cry, every morning rise, I'm made well, I'm made new in your eyes. I find myself missing the conversation again. And I'm going over unanswered questions instead. As my friends talk beside me, I remember that you made them by hand. And just like them, for me, you have a plan. You made me for something. Nothing is made for nothing. Every scar, every cry, every morning rise, I'm made well, I'm made new in your eyes. But my faith is almost invisible. My trust falls short of his promises. When I feel like I'm nowhere near moving mountains, I can't help but think Jesus didn't die for this. But you made me for something. Nothing is made for nothing. Every scar, every cry, every morning rise, I'm made well, I'm made new in your eyes.
Beautiful. I had to get my tissues there at the get my tissues. That was such a beautiful song, and I think so many of us have had moments where we feel like, what's the point? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're trying so hard and we're doing, what is our purpose? What is the point of it? And that one line, nothing is made from nothing.
Mm.
It's so emotional. It's so emotional. What does that song mean for you?
So when I was kind of preparing the album, My Story, My Song, I had a plan to make them all faith-based songs, and a lot of them are very doubtful songs, rather. And I didn't intend for that when I was going in, because I made a plan for this album maybe a year or two before I started writing for it completely. I had a couple songs written and I was like, I'm going to write more songs to go with these. And I started really going through this point in my life where I was having a lot of trouble mentally and physically, and I was kind of like, when you have those moments where you're like, why is God letting me go through this,
Yeah.
and it's like you feel like there's always a reason, but you'd think that you'd get the reason shown to you, and sometimes you never do. And so I was kind of having a little crisis there. So one week I went to my church, and there was kind of like this, they were having a service when they somebody said one of the things, like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was one of the lines from this song, but it was something along the lines of God doesn't make something for no reason. And I was like, and I have this bad habit when I'm in church to like flip to the back of my notes and then write lyrics, and then I've missed like a minute and a half of what I was supposed to be listening to, and I'm like, oh man. But I kind of let that happen because it's kind of like a brain dump. If I don't write it down, I'm gonna miss more than like a minute and a half of what I'm supposed to be hearing.
I believe that's for a reason, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we all may have done things in church that we are not proud of, but but I think that in your case, like, it's such a, you are literally helping and healing and inspiring people through your music. And so just you being aware of that, like taking that stuff out, and then it becomes this and something beautiful. It's a beautiful awareness.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it got to the point that I had a little mini notebook in my Bible bag specifically for lyric ideas.
Smart. Not write it in the Bible, but
right. Well, I have a notebook where I like take notes, but it got to the point that I couldn't find where I was putting them, so I was like, I'm just losing these ideas. But yeah, and my pastor is a strong believer in letting people doodle in church, as he says, because he believes that it'll help you concentrate, which honestly, taking notes and doodling and writing down any lyric ideas I have does help me concentrate. But yeah, a lot of the songs off of that album came from that little notebook. I would just kind of have this, I don't know if it was just kind of like God was giving me these thoughts that I was getting, or if it was like something in the message kind of like triggered in my brain, but I would always have these little thoughts in my head that I would wrestle with, and I would start writing them down, and they would turn into song lyrics. And the track on my album, It Is Well, kind of came from, most of the song is a little page from that notebook where I was writing down all of these things that I was like, my mattress is old and my tires are worn out on my car, and I have to drive an hour on the interstate to work, but you know what? It's fine because I have a job and a car and a mattress to start with.
That's right.
But Made for Something really is one of those more peaceful songs where I was like, this is what I'm frustrated with, but I'm kind of just going to sit in it. And even though I don't feel like I'm getting answers, nothing is made for nothing. And
absolutely, you
can really see the struggle in that bridge. I was really proud of that bridge to first start with, where it says, when I feel like I'm making no progress and I have no purpose, I feel like, what did Jesus die for anyway? And it really comes back around, and I feel like it's a good song for me to listen to when I feel like I'm struggling, because I mean, what's better than to look back on your own words when you feel like things are going wrong? So I'm glad that I recorded it, and I'm glad I released it for other people to enjoy as well.
I'm very glad to. I listened to the entire My Story, My Song album one evening as I was preparing for you to be on the show, and we've had a lot of conversation on this show throughout the last several seasons, and again this season about faith and about spirituality and how that's different for everybody, and we all have different beliefs. And what I loved about sitting and listening to, I know that you said that album is faith-based for you, but you were really, with every song, reaching across the aisle and with the lyrics and with the music, shaking the hand of everybody, no matter what they believe in. That's how I felt listening to that these are like that song. I just sat there and I sobbed. I controlled myself today. I controlled myself today, but I sobbed the first time I heard it because it's so beautiful. And I think that's the magic of inspirational entertainment, is being able to reach everyone, no matter where they're at and what their beliefs are, and being a positive influence on their life. So thank you for being that for everybody.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm glad that you feel like it can reach everybody, because that's truly my intention. Even if somebody isn't already a Christian or anything else that's similar to what I believe, I do want everyone to believe that they're loved and have a purpose, if it's not through that album or something else that I write.
Absolutely. I love that so much. Thank you so much for being here today, Abby, and for being our first entertainer of the season. I'm so excited to have, we've got Aaron Hill coming up later in the season, who's a fantastic pianist, and I'm just so excited to see where this goes, and to not just inspire through words, but to something that I'm passionate about too, which is music. So thank you so much, Abby, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, you guys can find out more about Abby Miracle and the links to all of her songs and her bio and all of that fun stuff in our show notes. So be sure that you click on those and check that out.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Breakthrough. Please visit our website at www.thebreakthroughshow.com. And be sure to join our After the Breakthrough community powered by Patreon. We look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place for another inspiring episode.